Sesc celebra o apoio à segunda edição do FIM, Festival Internacional de Mulheres, no cinema, que ocorre de 10 a 17 de novembro. Apresentamos uma aula magna inédita e concebida exclusivamente para o festival com a cineasta francesa Claire Denis, numa conversa gravada direto de sua casa em Paris e mediada por Robert Milazzo. Essa conversa ficará na plataforma do Sesc Digital, junto com o filme Deixa a Luz do Sol Entrar.
Olá, boa tarde. Eu sou a Joséphine Bourgois, diretora executiva do Projeto Paradiso, uma iniciativa de apoio aos talentos do audiovisual, mantida pelo Instituto Filantrópico, Instituto Olga Rabinovich. A gente tem a alegria e a honra de ser esse ano um apoiador, um parceiro da realização do Festival Internacional das Mulheres do Cinema. Então, queria agradecer a Minon pela oportunidade de estarmos juntos nessa tão importante iniciativa realizada no meio de um ano tão difícil. Então, parabéns a todos os envolvidos. A gente, em especial, tem muita alegria de poder apresentar juntos a Masterclass da Claire Denis. A Claire Denis é uma realizadora ímpar, fantástica, que transitou tanto pelo documentário quanto pela ficção e até pela ficção científica, e onde ela passou, ela ganhou reconhecimento de crítica e de público, ganhou prêmios, indicada ao Festival de Cannes, ao César francês, levou Locarno, enfim, então uma brilhantíssima carreira de uma mulher que tem um olhar de uma sensibilidade muito única, de um humanismo muito grande, além de ser uma grande mulher, e para nós é uma inspiração. Muito obrigada, Claire, por ter aceito o convite, por nos dedicar esse tempo seu, que com certeza vamos aprender muito com você. Muito obrigada mesmo, e uma boa Masterclass a todos.
Olá, meu nome é Minon Pinho, sou diretora do FIM, Festival Internacional de Mulheres no Cinema, esse festival que existe para valorizar o protagonismo feminino em tela e atrás das câmeras. A gente também existe mirando a equidade de gêneros no cinema, uma questão em todo mundo. Então, para inspirar essas novas gerações de cineastas e valorizar essa presença feminina em tela e atrás das câmeras, nada melhor do que trazer para vocês este momento incrível em que o FIM recebe a aclamada diretora francesa Claire Denis. Então, para a gente é uma honra imensa. Seja muito bem-vinda, Claire, ao Brasil, ao Festival Internacional de Mulheres no Cinema. Essa ação é co-realizada com o Sesc São Paulo e o Projeto Paradiso. E a gente tem aqui também a presença do crítico e educador Robert Milazzo, da The Modern School of Film de Nova York, que vai mediar esse debate, esse bate-papo com a Claire sobre sua obra, sobre suas linguagens e sobre esse momento complexo que a gente vive no mundo. Então, boa Masterclass para vocês e espero que vocês aproveitem muito esse encontro. Um beijo.
Olá, bom dia, bonjour, hello. My name is Robert Milazzo. I am the founder and the lead instructor of the Modern School of Film. The Modern School of Film is a film craft school. I'm also, I do a lot of itinerant curatorial work based in the United States. But today I'm honored to be here with you in Brazil, one of my favorite places in the world, my favorite countries in the world, as part of the FIM20's second annual Women's International Film Festival, to bring to you today's and this festival's keynote masterclass, featuring someone who I consider, in the words of Werner Herzog, to be a soldier of cinema, because that truly is what she is. Before we get started, I want to say one quick thing. The Modern School of Film, for the school, I get to teach two types of classes. One is a craft class, film craft, where I accidentally talk about culture. The other is a culture class where I accidentally talk about film. But today we're going to combine these ideas because the best guests, the best professors, and to me, she is a professor, allow us to do that. Today's masterclass features someone whose work is cinema in its most important form and function and phenome. Her work is both macro and micro. She's showed us views across the globe, but those global views exist right in your village or your city or in your home. What I love most about her, though, is she's a paradox. She began studying economics. She's not even a child of cinema, and I love her already. She swims almost every day, even in the winter. I don't know how she does that. She makes homemade food. Hummus and rice is on the menu recently, but everything has to be fresh, no canned chickpeas. She has been compared to some of the great jazz musicians of all time, including Charlie Parker and Ornette Coleman. But her collaborator, the great world actress Juliette Binoche, once described her in my favorite way. She is a portrait painter. Here to discuss today the cinematic brushstrokes that have served her and continue to serve us. Please welcome to FIM Cinema's second annual Women's International Film Festival and to the Modern School of Film, Professor Claire Denis. Bonjour, Professor Denis, how are you?
I'm fine, and as you can see a little piece of my window, I will say bonsoir.
Yes.
Night is falling.
Bonsoir, buonasera, as we would say in Italy. Never has this question been less banal. So I'll start. How are you doing?
I'm doing fine. I should say I am aware that fine is a vague word to describe the enormous quantity of questions that I'm asking myself about the world of today. I am okay. I'm not suffering, but so many. The world is like a sort of. It's not that there is the word. So many people suffer today. That's it.
Yes.
5 minutes before we opened this Zoom meeting, I was watching on internet some shots from the island of Lesbos in Greece, where so many exiled persons try to survive. But on the other hand, they are so numerous that the small island of Lesbos cannot stand to share the space with them. And it creates a sort of fear and rejection. And I understand. And the Mediterranean situation is bad. Then there is the COVID. Then there is the fact that because of COVID, so many people are losing their work, their jobs, shops are closing. Coming back from Venice yesterday, I saw so many places to rent, Yes. It means people are losing jobs, losing their shops. And even if I am with my red beans, my pasta, my kitchen, I have a fear. I have a fear that nobody can live a long time in a good situation if all over people are in the worst situation.
Not to quote an American, but I was thinking Michelle Obama was saying that there is a collective way to collective depression in a way that she was identifying. Is that too poetic, or do you feel that, and would you say it's a global depression? Have we been bound together in this?
I think we are bound together, in it. Now, the word depression for me, maybe because of the similarity with the French word, has two meanings. A depression you can use in a weathercast, A depression means that something is going to change,
right.
like wind or rain or whatever. And it means also a mental situation, like you're so depressed, you know. And I think it's maybe not what I should use in French. I should say that so many change, plus this COVID, plus the lack of water in many countries, plus all this change all together, either we are in the North Hemisphere or South Hemisphere, creates a terrible situation. And when I read in newspaper, it's hard, but it's only the beginning. Then I don't think I'm afraid. I'm not even afraid for myself. Mm-hmm. I could think easily, well, I had enough of a good life. It's okay. But there is so many kids and young people who need time and life and water and food and studies. I don't know. It's like the future is in a sort of fog for me.
Well, I'll speak for the rest of the world. We haven't had enough of you yet, so please.
No, I am only
I know.
one little items of a big thing, and I think that there is something. I grew up in a world, maybe naively optimistic, that it was going to be better and better, And for instance, if I take the one aspect of Black Lives Matters, I remember a time where actors I was working with were on stage in Paris reading text written by a Black activist in the 60s in America. I thought all this was going to be better. Of course, each time I was traveling in the state, I was aware that it was not exactly what was happening. But now we have almost as if we were afraid of each other. And this is not possible for me. This is not possible. I cannot. When you mention I study economy, it's probably a joke I made once when I was interviewed. I think my father wanted to send me to study economy, but I was such a mess, and I'm such a mess in economy. But I grew up in a world that to me was going to be open, and more open, and more open, and not close into small communities of this and that, Me, I remember when my mother was we were living in Cameroon at that time, and she was afraid to eat pork because of some food worms, if you eat pork.
Yeah.
And I remember a woman visiting us thought my mother was Jewish, and that's why she was not eating pork. But we were in a Muslim country where nobody was eating pork, So it was like a vast summary of the world, you know. We were not eating pork for more or less sanitary reason, you know.
Yes.
Much more than religious belief.
And you know, and we will get into cinema, but you know, you're in such a philosophical place, and I love that. I love that about you. I love that about your movies. You know, I was thinking about 35 Shots of Rum.
Yeah.
Because one of the students talks about Frantz Fanon.
Yeah.
Who you know very well, The Wretched of the Earth.
I mean, I read Frantz Fanon when I was a student, and it was very striking for me. Yes.
Well, let's just to contextualize this a little bit before we move on. You know, Frantz Fanon, who was a political philosopher, West Indian, based in Martinique.
From Martinique, yes.
Right. He, you know, one of his sentences keeps coming back to me, and because of I was watching 35 Shots of Rum. He says, "We revolt because we can no longer breathe."
Yeah.
I mean,
and he was a. Sorry, I interrupt you.
No, I was going to say though the prescience, the vision of that idea, and as you, I'm just saying that have things changed? I mean, is this marinating in your mind? Go on, please. No, you're not interrupting me.
No, I thought when I was reading two of his books when I was a student, I remember I thought I could read the pain in him. He came to Bordeaux to study medicine, and then he became a psychiatrist, and he studied to be a doctor to soothe the mind of people. In the end, he had to go in Algeria, be part of the war of this Algerian war in the 60s as a doctor. And he died young. And I thought, wow, it's so bad he died young, because if he had lived longer, he would have seen the better was coming, you know?
Yes.
But it's not true.
No, he was a prophet in a way.
Yeah, he was.
That's what I was thinking. You know, what's ironic about you, one of many, you know, we can use the word paradox or irony. You know, Americans don't do well with paradox. So, you know, I'll use irony. One of the wonderful things about you is, you know, we've spoken a little bit over the last few weeks. You are so damn busy. My God. Have you been this busy since 1971? I mean, you are so busy. You were working in Los Angeles on a project with The Weeknd. You were in pre-production.
Yeah. But
well, tell me where you were. Yeah, tell me where you were working wise. What are you doing working wise?
No, the thing is, Abel, The Weeknd, he wanted me. He wanted to do a project with me, so I was waiting. My next project is supposed to be with acting Robert Pattinson.
The Stars at Night. Is this The Stars at Night?
Yeah.
Yes.
I adapt this novel by Dennis Johnson, and because Robert was in starting Batman, that was before COVID, I knew I had to wait. So I went to meet Abel and The Weeknd, and we had a plan to do a film together, not a video music, just a film with a beautiful music he composed. And he wanted me to do a film a little bit like Trouble Every Day, you know. And then it was March in LA, and then I had to go back because then the plane, I had to go home because I couldn't stay in LA anymore.
What are you doing now, Claire? Are you working on something? Because I only say that for our viewers because different parts of the world are operating at different speeds. This is not news, but you know, production in America is verboten right now. Are you
much? I was in Venice, and all the director I met, and I met Christine Vachon, the producer. We all do work. We work differently. we work on smaller scale. But because I am waiting on Robert, who is still in London shooting Batman, I wrote, and I cannot go in LA, work with Abel the weekend. And so I am going to shoot this winter in Paris with Juliette Binoche, a small budget movie.
I was thinking about 1972, Hitchcock released Frenzy. He did an interview. It was late in his career. He had 2 films left, Family Plot and the other one escapes me, sorry. But Dick Cavett, the American interviewer, said, "Mr. Hitchcock, are you working on a film?" And Hitchcock said, "I work on a film every day of my life."
Yeah.
I say that to you because a lot of students come to me and say, "How do you work on a film when you're not working on a film?" Can you talk about that a little bit? Being an open vessel, I know you're watching Shaft and Thief, and you're getting influences in, but your old collaborator Jim Jarmusch once said, "No input, no output." How do you manage input and output while you're searching for an idea? How do you manage that?
For me, the search is not a search of ideas. Ideas, it's like whales. When you listen about whales in the sea, and you understand that to find their food, just have to swim underwater and to open their mouth, and all those little very microscopic animals feed them, and they just have to open them up. So ideas, it's not searching an idea, it's just being there, open mouth, just and listening to music, reading, watching film. In a way, something will crystallize, and maybe it could be that, and it's not even an idea, it's just a form, I would say.
Yes.
More than an idea. But then the search starts then, when the form is there, more or less you can start pretending working on a script, but then that's where the search starts. It's not to find an idea, but it's to find how this shape will function, how I can foresee that possible movie. It's not a movie yet, it's just a form of a movie, could be made. For me, the motto is with not too much money and more freedom, that's the search for me, really. Yeah. That moment where the film is something, you are already inside something, but then you have to search for the film itself.
Yeah, can you get too much stimulation? Do you ever want quiet and hibernation? You talked a lot about now, because of COVID, that you've always lived in a kind of isolation. Is isolation important for a creator? Is there value in isolating?
But I hate to be lonely. I like to be with like when I was in Venice, I was very happy to be with people I liked, but the need of being lonely is not because loneliness is a good thing. It is like to be in a sort of a moment where there is nothing else but the approach of work, even being not in a good shape with work, or to be in a great shape, but the the solitude, I would say, more than loneliness.
Right.
It's a very important thing, I guess, you know?
It's hard, you know, and not to get too morose again. You know, I was thinking of another French word, ennui. You know, not to, but now I know a lot of young people are struggling to want to create. What is what is inspiring you? What is it? Time? Is it the ideas are they're full and they're ready? Like, because, not to go backwards, but because of the world we're living in, where a lot of things are starting and stopping and momentum is changing, what is keeping you from not working? What is moving you forward?
I think for me, I have a need to do physical things, you know.
Yeah.
I have a need to walk. I have a need to use my bicycle. I have a need, when I was in Venice, to swim, of course. I have a need to go to the market to buy food. I have a need to be, yeah, because filmmaking is also very physical in a way. If
Yes.
There was a time, I stopped doing it during COVID, but there was a long time in my life when I needed to run every day, because I was living near a big garden, and I was not a good jogger, but I love the discipline, you know? I love the discipline.
Yes.
It helps to work a lot. So now it's not run, I do other thing, you know, but I think it's great, you know, to organize a sort of secret discipline, you know?
I was thinking of something Bergman said in his career. He said, people underestimate how physical production is, you know, as we get into production a little bit. You're on your feet for 14, 16 hours a day. I think, you know, I'm not saying you're not young. I'm not young, but what I'm saying, we're not young anymore. It does become a physical choice, no? I mean, are you okay with the physical choices of production?
I think for me, I don't know. I think I love to be physical. There is nothing. I can go to dance class. I can dance. I can sing. I mean, everything physical makes me happy, you know? And nothing. I also love to be completely lazy, read in bed. I love, but it has to be in bed in the daytime is also very physical, you know.
Yes,
Going to bed at night just to sleep is boring. It's great to be in bed at daytime,
yes,
to read, to listen to music, you know. I mean, it's everything to be able to make film. There must be a balance with the pleasure to be physical, I guess. Yeah.
I watched that middle of.
I was speaking with Barry Jenkins the other day, and
you were speaking with Barry Jenkins. Go on, please tell us.
I told him that the scene in his second movie, when this man learned to the little boy how to swim, you know.
Extraordinary.
You remember that scene?
Yes.
For me, I remember, and I told him when. Sorry, I take a little.
That's okay, and I think that became the poster, the image of the man
exactly. And I
yes, the body swimming. Yes, yeah.
For me, it was probably my most important memory with my father. When my father teach me to swim, and I think it was the second important is when I got my driving license. I remember these two moments, like I can swim and I can drive. Excuse me.
Take a minute, please. No, don't, I don't want you to feel uncomfortable. Go on.
To be able to drive, still today.
Yes.
When I feel a little bit nervous, if I drive, I go somewhere in France driving, it makes me feel good, you know?
You love freedom, don't you? I was thinking about swimming and driving and freedom.
But I think every kid wants that, you know?
Yes. What makes you nervous still, Claire? I mean, when you say, you know, and it can be as a human being.
When the script is not working, you know, when I'm blocked and I know that this is not the right move, this is not going to be, I have to change this or that. Yeah. Of course. Or nervous could be also family thing, you know, you've got my neighbor again. When you see troubles in a life takes a big part of life, huh?
Yes.
A washing machine broken, water leaking from my ceiling, you know, from my neighbor, you know. I don't know, things like that. The cat is ill, you know.
Yes. Would you rather a life without these worries, or would you prefer a life with worry?
What? Sorry, I don't understand.
Well, you know, young filmmakers, when I work with them, they say, "Oh, I didn't have enough money. I didn't have enough time." And
money. Aha, of course, money. That's the word. Yes. Money. Me. I knew money was always. The word is always running after me, because there is. And not only my own self money, sometimes some actors I like, actors I'm working with, I know, especially with COVID, they have not been working for a year, you know, yeah. And I'm worried, I can't sleep, you know. Money is, money is such a terrible thing, you know. When you know someone is missing money, you can't sleep. Nobody is able to stand. Me, I think I manage. My way of living is okay. I don't need so much in a way, and it's okay. But I know money is the big thing, and for young students, it's terrible, you know, it's terrible. Because it's like a headache, you know, money. How could you be free? Of course, you can swim, okay, you're free. You can drive, okay, you're free. I remember when I was working with Jim Jarmusch in New Orleans, I was
down by law.
One Sunday, a young trainee that his nickname was Chuck, and he had a French name, like some families in Louisiana, you know, they have a name of a French origin.
Yes.
And I really like this young boy, and I told him, well, next Sunday, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to drive, and I want to visit Baton Rouge. Because, you know, Baton Rouge, it's a French name, and of course, I wanted to go there. I wanted to see Baton Rouge. Right. And it's not far from New Orleans. So he said, "Oh, Claire, please, I would like to drive you there. I would like to be with you. I want to drive you there." So I said, "Okay, great." Because he was born in Baton Rouge. So we were on the road driving to Baton Rouge. And then as he was driving, I could see his eyes were like that, half closed. And I said, "Hey, Chuck, what's happening with your eyes?" And he said, "Well, you see, I don't have my glasses." And I said, "You've lost your glasses?" He said, "No, I can't afford them." I said, "What? What do you mean you can't afford glasses?" "No," he says, the glasses I had before are not good anymore for my seasight, and I need to change. And I hope at the end of the film I will have enough money to get my new pair of glasses." I said, "Chuck, please stop the car. I can't. You are 20, you are a student, and you are driving next to me, and you don't have the right glasses to see properly, and you're working with us. So this I never forget." I thought, I remember I told Jim, I said, "It's not possible." Anyway, he got glasses in the end from us. But I thought, how could you be a student in the #1 country of the world and not have enough money to get the right glasses, you know?
You said something about that so beautiful. That story is beautiful. We are slaves to money. We are slaves to working. And America is the worst. And I'll say it, I'll raise my hand. We're a very image-based country. You know, if you're not working, there's something wrong with you. You know, all these things.
I would say there are so many drawbacks and flaws in the French system, but more or less in Europe, you should be able to send your children for free to school, to college for free. You should not be to have to borrow so much money to study. You should have your teeth and your eyes and your health treated for free, you know? Even if you don't work, you could be out of work and need a pair of glasses, you know. There should be a sanitary system I think Barack Obama, it was his project, no?
Obamacare, yeah. And we can go on, and I agree with you. I think it's about collective responsibility.
But that's not to be great, to be highly civilized. It's just to be, I think the minimum to be civilized is to be to have a little bit of solidarity, I think.
I think it's about being a human being. I agree. I think it's the most primal piece.
Yeah.
Not to make this too cliche, but I hate to say this. I was thinking about High Life for two reasons, based on what you're talking about. It's more money than you've ever worked with. Look, we're talking about two conditions. We're talking about the human condition, which is much more important than the cinematic condition. But if we want to bridge,
and probably less money that Robert ever was paid.
Yes, that's his craft service money. Yes. Well, and it's no offense to Mr. Pattinson, but with money comes, Cassavetes talked about this all the time. Cassavetes and Jenna Rowland, they would mortgage their home to make their movies. They would make their movies in their home. Woman Under the Influence, So tell going back to the first idea, my students will sometimes complain about these things, and I say, look, stop. Every filmmaker, James Cameron, if you give him $200 million, at some point he wanted $300 million. Every filmmaker works with a limit Charlie Chaplin loved limits. Orson Welles loved limits. Can you talk about the value of limits as a creator? Less money, less time. Do you think there's value when a creator has less?
No. People,
damn it.
people say it's a value. It's a value, but it's not. It's the only thing you can do with less money, small budget, only few weeks of shooting is number one, and it's a big one, is to do the film.
Right.
And number two is to be obliged to invent a form to do the film with that amount of money. And it doesn't make you more creative, but in a way it gives me, I think, not more creativity, but a very strange feeling, very peaceful, of being free.
Yes.
And free, I mean, of course I'm not free, but I would hate to do a film with a gun pointed on my head, thinking my producer is going to be bankrupt if the film is not making that amount of money, you know? I'm always happy to think that the producer is safe, is not going to be bankrupt, is not going to have to fire everyone working in his office, you know? For me, this is a sort of joy. When I was doing Bom Trabalho in Djibouti, 4 weeks, I enjoyed it so much. We had nothing. The script we had written a much more expensive movie in the script, because we thought naively that the army was going to help us in Djibouti. Instead, not only they did not help us, but they wanted to stop us from shooting because they were suspecting us to do a sort of porno movie, a gay porno movie. That was the suspicion. And I spoke with the producer and we thought, let's try. But to go to Djibouti was already so expensive, the crew plus the 15 actors, that I knew very little was left, you know. But we enjoyed it, really. And we all knew the salary were minimum for all of us. Yeah. And we I don't know, we enjoyed it like we were as if we were children doing something that the parents would say, no, you can't do that. And we were doing it, you know? Yes. Yeah, we said, no, you can't do it. It's a gay porno movie, you don't do it. So we got no money, no help. And yet we were doing it, you know? And it's one of my best memory of course, every day was, how are we going to do that? How are we going to finish the day? Yes, it is true, but not painful.
And there's some kind of esprit de corps too, right? There's a group spirit, esprit de corps.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry, we were bad French. Sorry.
So much having our fish together, our rice together. I had invented a sort of diet for everybody to be strong and for cheap. So we had pasta or rice every day, you know. I mean, and everyone enjoyed it, you know.
Yes, yes. I want to get into acting, and this is the perfect way. I want to say two quick things. Not congratulations, and this is not promotional, but Bon Trabalho is now on Criterion Blu-ray.
Yeah,
it looks beautiful.
That's why I did that Zoom last week.
Oh, okay. No, and you didn't ask me to say this. I'm just saying, if you're hearing this and you haven't seen it, stop this, go see it, come back to this, because it's a masterwork, and it's always on Sight and Sound, the BFI list, and it's rightfully so. It's a beautiful film. I was thinking about that film because, and you can correct this as well. From what I understand, you started the work with the actors with not scripts but biographies about their characters. Is that right? Did you have a formal script, or did you start with a different way?
No, we had a very formal script with 2 layers: the story, the narrative of this group, which was inspired by Melville Billy Budd.
Right, Billy Budd.
And I had decided to do it in the foreign legion, because for me it was like a sort of a closed world, the foreign legion. And when you go to the foreign legion and roll in the foreign legion, you're not supposed to have a past, and you're not supposed to tell your story. The thing is, I was told that after the Second World War, a lot of German guys went to the Foreign Legion because they had been in the German army, and that was a place for them not to hide, but to get a second chance, Yes. So you get to the Foreign Legion, you don't need a story. You just need, because when you enter the Legion, you have no nationality. You have no passport for 10 years. Huh? First you sign for 5 years, and then another 5 years. Only then you can decide if you want to be French or not, or go back to Cambodia or your country of origin. But you can change your name. You're not obliged to say you have been in jail. And therefore, the story of each character was not important. The importance for me was the story of the chief of arms, the character of Denis Lavant.
Denis Lavant, yeah.
Who was the chief of arms, was in charge of that little group, and a peloton, we say in French, which I think is platoon in English. And he was like the other. He had reached the point where he had done his 15 years. So he had reached a certain level in the Legion where he could be free to go or to stay, and to be jealous of a young man like in Billy Budd. But the script was telling that. And then I had, on another page, a different page, we wrote the diary of the Clagart, the character of Denis Lavant. So was the story of the group, and then the diary of Denis Lavant.
That's fascinating.
Which, in fact, I used less than I thought, because I didn't want Denis Lavant to be really a voiceover. I wanted him to have a diary that starts in Marseille, and Djibouti was his flashback. Because I had chosen to do the commandant to be Michel Subor. Michel Subor, being actor of Petit Soldat by Jean-Luc Godard, yes, was the film completely told by the voiceover of Michel Subor. The story is told by him. So I took some pieces of that voiceover in Petit Soldat to put in the mouth of Denis Lavant, like to say, I have still a future, I use some, and therefore I I wanted a diary, not a voiceover.
Yes.
So that was those two scripts together, the diary and the script were together. But when we realized we had to do everything in Djibouti, even we had to build the coffin. We need 2 coffins. I thought we could buy them from the army. No, because there is no coffin in Djibouti. Wood is very rare in Djibouti. So we had to buy the wood to do the coffin. We even had to do the flag, you know. The costume designer we were sewing the flag. I mean, we were supposed to get the uniform. We didn't. I mean, so everything was like, we were in a dramatic situation every day, but it made us totally free, you know? Yeah. So of course, when there is a part of the script with helicopter accident falling in the sea, well, of course I couldn't do it. Not enough money. So we found, because there is a lot of military thing in Djibouti, because of the situation of the Red Sea and everything. And I found a piece of a chopper, a ruined chopper somewhere. We took a piece of it, we used it, and we put it in the water, and it was just a piece of the chopper in the sea, you know? That was the accident.
Amazing.
But it's not amazing. It's when I say it's very physical. You see what I mean?
This is why I called you a soldier of cinema. I mean, this is literally...
Yeah, if you expect everything to come to you like on a
silver plate,
yes, you know,
yes.
Then Beau Travail cannot exist. I had a lot. I had the group, the actors, I had my crew, 12 person, I had a camera, I had film, I had this magnificent Republic of Djibouti. It's such a beautiful part of the world. The Djiboutian army was helping me.
Amazing.
Instead, with as little as they have.
Yes.
But I don't want students to think, wow, it's easy, you poor, you go to Djibouti, you have no money, it's 50 degrees Celsius, you're very hot, you have only rice and pasta or a grilled fish in the evening, and this situation makes you very creative. No, it's not true. It was also painful, you know.
It's romantic in retrospect. It's romantic, but it's not.
But it was, the group together felt strong, you know. We felt strong, especially when the real legend was watching us with binoculars, you know.
Your history with acting is wonderful. You know, you were an extra before in Bresson's For Night in a Dream.
Oh, cinema school.
You were still in school.
Yeah.
Cinematographer was your teacher,
I said,
right?
oh, Bresson shooting. Yes, if you want to be an extra, you can go a few nights. They need extra.
Yes.
Okay, I went.
And there you are walking by the Seine at night.
Yes. With a cape, I remember.
The other thing I wanted to talk to you about is, I find it to be a fascinating credit working with Tarkovsky on The Sacrifice. Also, as a casting director, also because that film is such a unique cast.
No, but the cast. Yeah. No, but it's a complete joke. Right. I mean, the thing is,
it's Bergman's
co-production. Yes. He was supposed to do some casting in France because he had the Swedish fund and French money.
Right.
And the French producer was great. He was the producer of Paris, Texas, and Wings of Desire. And one day he phoned me and he said, Claire, I had already made my first film. He said, Claire, please do me a favor. Please help me with Sacrifice, because with Tarkovsky, because he refused all the real French casting director I introduced. He does not want any. He said he hates professional. He wants a real person. So the Anatole Daumont sent me to Tarkovsky, and Tarkovsky told Anatole, she's great. She looks like Jane of Arc, and but this was fake. Tarkovsky was Tarkovsky was very seductive. So he wanted the French producer to be happy,
Right.
So I did very little, but I was with him every day for weeks, not for a long time, but to be very honest, I was aware he was cheating on the French producer. He was saying, yes, but I don't, he had other ideas. He wanted this English actress. He wanted this Swedish actress. He had this casting in mind already. And the French producer understood it and was not complaining. He said, it's an honor for me to be cheated by Tarkovsky.
Yes. What a cinematic lover you've had.
Yeah.
I was also thinking about another cinematic lover you had, Alex Descartes. And, and we'll talk about him, but I was thinking about Bertolucci, actually. Marlon Brando, right before he passed, he was asked, what's the best direction a director ever gave you? And he said, well, before we made Last Tango, Bertolucci took me to the Louvre and showed me Francis Bacon paintings. Yeah. And he said, Marlon, I want you to act like these paintings. It's one of my favorite stories. And it makes me think of you immediately about your process. Can you talk a little bit about, Isabelle Huppert, Denis Levant, these are masters, Juliette Binoche, these are masters you've worked with. Talk a little bit about your
Robert also is great actor. Robert Pattinson,
yeah. I think is unbelievable. I absolutely didn't mean to admit, yes.
I couldn't believe how lucky I was to have this great young actor knocking at my door, and I was almost afraid. I thought, why, But I was very lucky. He gave me his trust. It's the biggest thing he could give me.
Absolutely.
But this story of Bacon painting, and I think in a way Brando looks like many male self-portrait of Francis Bacon, by the way, or his boyfriend. And I think I recognize the Bacon painting in the interpretation of Marlon Brando, for sure. But I think Marlon Brando, what Bertolucci understood is that probably Marlon Brando was the actor who could understand that. You cannot say that to anyone, Marlon Brando could understand this sort of there is a sort of, when you watch a Bacon painting, you can feel this like a smoke, like a fog coming out, like a breeze. Something is coming, and you can feel it, and this breeze is full of pain.
Well, I said this to you because it's something Pattinson said. He said, working with Claire, and he said this lovingly, it's like experimental theater.
I don't know. I don't I have no idea. Honestly. No, of course, if I was going on the set thinking, wow, I'm going to experiment this today. No, of course, it would be frightening, you know. It's good. I believe I'm ready to shoot. I believe I'm all organized. I believe I know what I want from Robert. I thought I would never try to put an actor in my experiment. I respect them too much.
Oh, that's clear.
So I want
actors.
The only person I can experiment with is me. I was experimenting myself, discovering Robert, because when I met Robert, I was afraid a little bit by the fact that he was maybe too young or too iconic for me. I don't know. It was, and I realized day after day that he was not only trusting me, but offering me so much, you know. In a way, like you mentioned Alex Descas, Alex is not a guy that is talking so much, you know. He's a very secret guy.
Yeah.
So he would never express, do I have to feel this? Do I have to feel that? Do I feel... No. Alex is typically the kind of guy I could show him a painting and he will immediately, or give him a song to listen. He will understand. Alex is, but I would not use Alex. No, I would ask him, please, experiment with me.
Right. No, and you know, that term experimental theater isn't like a rat in a cage.
Yeah.
It's a kind of organic language, collaborative, and he said it lovingly, you know. And I'll just say, no, he said it lovingly. He adores your process. I want to tell everyone who's watching this.
But you know, he adore my process.
Yes.
Maybe. But the it's an easy thing because I was adoring him, and there is no other way to direct someone. Not adoring the actor or actress you direct is crazy. It's impossible. I feel it, you know. You have to adore the people.
Well, you know, I've heard you. I know you've said this. Godard said it about, you know, he said you have to love something to shoot it, not literally. I mean, with a camera, and you know, and he was, you know, obviously Anna Karina, and it's, you know, all these things.
Of course.
But take the opposite view. Can you film somebody that you don't have that connection to halfway through the shoot? You don't always have that connection, though. That's not possible, is it?
That's why I very rarely do test when I cast my film, because I can feel right away at a meeting that we don't need to go very far. It's not going to be, it won't work. It won't work. I know I don't have to test someone. It's so humiliating to test someone and then say, oh no, I'm sorry, I test you, but no, I prefer to fall first, to fall for someone, to fall, yes. To say, this person, yes.
Well, someone I fell for in your movie is Mati Diop.
I
mean, everyone does. This is, you know, as a physical actress and now as a filmmaker, I want to use that as my last point before I give you some more phoned in questions. She's exquisite in 35 Shots of Rum, but she.
And what a director is she? Huh?
Right, she's a filmmaker, and we're here at a women's film festival.
Yeah.
Is there a pride in that for you, that she's becoming one of the world's great filmmakers too?
tried. Yeah, I know her mom, so I cannot say she's my daughter, you know,
Yes.
but she's mine a little bit, you know. I have to say.
She is.
But she was already a director to be when she was.
And her father was a great Senegalese filmmaker as well.
No, it's not her father.
Oh, no, her
uncle.
Oh, sorry, yes.
Her father is a musician.
Musician,
But
yeah. I apologize.
She knew, when I met her, I told her, look, Mati, your uncle is one of my heroes. Jibril Mambeti was my hero. Yeah.
Amazing. Is that important? You know, not to make this about gender, but, you know, we could spend 5 hours talking about this, but you are a master. I know, don't debate me. This is not open to debate. You are a great filmmaker. You continue to do this, but do you feel it's important to have a relationship with a new generation of, let's say, female filmmakers? Do you think that's important for you?
It is important that it's for them to choose. It would be difficult for me to impose myself. I think some young people I know, they really come to me and they are interested in my work. And of course, I am touched by that, you know. And in Venice, a young woman director told me, I was there in the theater when a film was screened, and she said, it's so important to me. And I was happy that I could have represent something for her. Maybe she was also inspired by my freedom, my sort of freedom, maybe. But I'm certainly do not feel like, I think I have this lamp behind my head. Is it?
I love it. It's a halo. It's like your halo.
Oh, all right. I think, I really think it's for them to decide if I can bring something to them or not. That's why I don't like to teach, because I have already for me, you know, it's not an easy thing just to be me. So I think it's better for me to inspire some people, and if they need my help, I am happy. And Mati, I knew while I was directing her, she was going to be great, you know.
Do you think a filmmaker needs to know how to act? Do you think that's important?
I think I was asking her more than to act, and that's why she did so well. I told her, come, don't worry at 1 second about acting. Just be on the set. Take everything from me you want. You are invited. We invite you. You are part of us.
Wow.
And don't worry a second. You will be great. Don't worry.
That's beautiful. I want to, these are questions from our friends in Brazil, and I want to ask you, and you can answer them however you want. The first question is from a woman named Beth Safler, and she is a curator of the film festival. She says, it is said you work very fast, but your editing maybe takes more time. Talk a little bit about the editing process, that the length of time you take to edit something.
High life, white material, 35 shots of rum, Beau Travail, Nanette and Bonnie, no, it was fast. I think the only film that lasted a long time was The Intruder, because The Intruder, I started in France in the summer. Then I went to South Pacific. Then I came back to France in the winter. Then I went to South Korea. I mean, this was a little bit, yeah. This is really, and maybe trouble every day a little bit, because first time I was working with a great editor, and I was a little bit, we were not knowing each other so well. But I have to say, no, I think editing, I don't like to spend too much time editing. White material and 35 shots of Rome, I did the same year, you know?
Yes, yes. 2008.
It's not very long.
2008, 2009. Next question is from Lais Bodansky, who I know, and I think she's a wonderful Brazilian filmmaker. She wanted a question about your cinematography, and maybe if Agnes was here, Agnes Godard.
Yeah.
Your longtime
She's 4th Street West.
Okay.
From here.
We'll Google Earth her. Is there an overall signature to the look of your film? Is there something cinematographic about many of your films that is common? Like one visual theme, would you say?
Probably there is always a scene in the script, even maybe a little bit before writing the script, that I foresee, and that will be somehow in the film, whatever happened. And this scene probably create is like the heart of the film, you know. It's like something that creates the not the style, but give a shape and a color to the film. When I did Trouble Every Day, for instance, there was the river Seine at night in Paris, like a black snake in Paris. Well, I had always that in mind, you know. And when we filmed it, it's the opening of the film. It was like I knew it was going to be the material of the film, you know. Yeah. And there is, in each film, I have a sort of things like a scene like that, you know.
Do you watch? I know you're watching. You said you're watching Shaft and Michael Mann and Imamura films. Do you?
But like many filmmakers, I'm watching films, you know.
Do you watch those for any cinematographic language, or is there a separation between?
I watch film, and sometimes some film. Like first time I saw Thief, I thought,
yes,
I wish I could do Thief right away. You know, it's a story that touched me so much. You know,
beautiful film. Yes, yes.
So, film like that you never forget. You know.
The next question comes from Roberta Estrella Dalva, who is an actress and a filmmaker. Her film won this film festival last year. She wants to know about your connection. She mentions that Brazil also has a great connection with Africa historically. You obviously do. What is that like?
And Africa was the same continent, and they split.
Well, what is the relationship in your mind now? And my question is, do you ever go back? Have you been back a lot to Africa?
Where?
Africa.
Oh, not now. I can't because of COVID, but whenever I can, yes. The last time I was in Cameroon, in Yaoundé, maybe 3 years ago, and then I was in Chad to do a documentary for Arte. Yeah. But
Is the country
My
changing?
connection with Brazil is different.
Yeah.
My connection with Brazil is my grandfather. The father of my mother is dead. He died when I was 12. He was a great grandfather, fantastic grandfather. He was from Belém do Pará. So when I was in Brazil, once I was interviewed by, I think, a journalist of Globo. He said, "Do you like Brazil?" I said, "Yes, I love Brazil. My grandfather was Brazilian from Belém do Pará." And then the next day, someone called the distribution company and said, "Who is this French woman who says she's from Belém do Pará and the name is this and that? We don't know her. It's a lie." And they sent someone in Rio to meet with me. And then I had the proof. My mother was the daughter of this man from Belém do Pará who died in France, who was a painter. And then I was invited in Belém do Pará to my mother family. And it's great. And as soon as COVID is finished, I'm going back there. Yeah.
For pleasure or for?
Oh yeah, for pleasure. It's so beautiful, Belém do Pará. So great place. And the family is huge.
I think the tradition of Brazilian film is not talked about enough. Maybe one day we can talk.
When I was in Venice last week, I was looking archive and I saw a great interview of Glauber Rocha.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
He was in Venice and he was complaining against the jury prices. He said, "They are bourgeois, they are all bourgeois."
That's amazing.
Great Glauber.
Amazing.
Great director.
Amazing. One of the great world authors. One outside question, one for me, and then au revoir. Flavia Guerra, who is a documentary filmmaker and a cinematic journalist, she has a question about, to me, the hardest metaphor to put in a film, which is time. She says, your movies have a sense of time and a feeling of time. Is that in your films? Do you want that sense of time in the script or in the film itself? I think it's personally impossible, but do you value putting time in your film?
Yes, especially in High Life, because it was the story of the film, in fact, that those people were sent forever and there was no return, And I remember there was so I went to class to understand the space and time thing, which is not easy. But I remember I was asked to have the script translated. Oops, there is a fly in my... No, it's hot in Paris. It's a tropical heat in Paris today. Anyway, and I was asked to have the script translated by an American writer. And she told me, "How can you write a story where people don't know, are sent without going home?" I said, "But it's a question of time. They don't have time to go home. As soon as you're over the solar system, life is too short, Yes. And it was, "No, it's not possible in a film." I said, "Yes, it is possible." But then now that I've seen Tenet, I see there is another way to speak about time.
Wim Wenders once told me that you cannot put a metaphor in a film because a film is a metaphor. What do you think?
Exactly.
What do you think about that? Do you agree with that? Do you agree with that?
I do in a way, yes.
It's a very fine line.
Yeah.
You did it in High Life.
I did it in High Life, yes.
It's very fun.
In a very, with little details, like a garden, a baby,
Yes.
things like that.
That's exactly right.
Not with special effects.
Before we go away, have you seen Silent Runnings, the Bruce Dern film? Did you see that before High Life? 1972 film. He plays an astronaut on a ship.
Oh no! Of course I saw it. Of
Right.
course, yes.
I didn't mean to be mean.
Of course I saw it. Yes.
Everyone should see High Life and see Silent Runnings.
Yeah, of course.
What a double feature that would be. I want to end on something with you. You're amazing, by the way. I was thinking about Stanley Kubrick with you, and this isn't meant to be morose. Kubrick made 13 feature films. High Life was your 13th film. Do you think about how many films you want left in your legacy? Do you think about that now in your life?
No, I regret, in a way, not to be in a play. I would have liked to be like Ozu, working every year on a new film, be part of a studio who protect you, feeds you, help you, find you, even when you needed to move away from Tokyo, the studio helping to find this out. I think for me it would have been a dream, but in my condition to do 53 films like Ozu, no, I know it will never happen. And the chance for me and the great happiness is maybe I think I've seen 32 Ozu movies.
Wow.
A lot, yeah.
That's incredible. What do you want your legacy to be, Claire? Do you think about your legacy?
No. Oh, no. No. The only thing I know is some things I promised to give my small brother, that's all. No. And I was mentioning Ozu, and I always, when Wim made that film Tokyo Ga, yes, and he filmed Ozu tomb with that Chinese sign meaning mu, meaning not nothing, but meaning nothing concrete, It means not even a name or an age, just a space, something.
Tokyo Ga, Sans Soleil, Chris Marker. I mean, those are Ozu films, every Ozu film, and your films, Claire. I'm going to speak as if you're not here. Your film.
35 Shots of Rum was a pale copy of, maybe not pale, but a copy very much inspired by Late Spring.
Late Spring. And now filmmakers are copying you. And we know that, and I mean that as a compliment. I'm going to tell you one thing I learned, and then we say goodbye. The thing I learned today is you need to make a musical. This is what I learned about you. Wim made Pina. Why don't you make a musical?
We'll do it with The Weeknd. Yes. That's what we want to do.
Here's how I say goodbye to you. I'm going to use one of your quotes against you. That's what happens when you're such a great filmmaker. People start to use your words against you. You said, "I'm not even certain that my work is personal or that I am even original. I have mostly doubt." Well, you are original, and I have no doubt.
Thank you. But I think it's better to be in the no man's land where I like to be. A place full of doubt, but of freedom also,
Who would want to be an expert? It's so much more fun to be an amateur, isn't it?
Yeah. Much more. Yes, I agree.
You are a wonder. I wish you health and happiness and whatever that means for you.
Thank you.
And until I see you, maybe in Brazil, maybe in
yes.
I want to thank the FIM20
back to Brazil.
Oh, I'll meet you there. I want to thank the Women's International Film Festival and the organizers. Thank you for watching. Thank you, Claire, for staying up with us. And
no, thank you very much. And sorry for the mistake of time and me being late and everything.
Your time is a gift.
Okay, thank you very much.
Ciao, ciao. I'll be until, and thank you.
Obrigada.
Bye, obrigado. See, yep.